Hey everyone, welcome to Open. Happy Black History Month. I'm Rhina Valentin, your host of Café con Leche for the next hour, encouraging you to get social with us online. Don't forget, let's connect. Tweet us and follow us on Instagram at BronxNet TV or like us on Facebook at Open BronxNet Television. And of course, while you're there, you can follow moi on Twitter, FB, Instagram, Insta Stories, and LinkedIn at Rhina Valentin. So it's been almost 2 months since Governor Cuomo announced the suspension of indoor dining due to the increasing COVID cases. Well, starting today, restaurants are going to be able to resume indoor dining at 25% capacity. And that's for just in time Valentine's Day weekend. And although it is another chance to regain more revenue, many are still fighting for at least 50% capacity. And joining us to discuss more on what's next for the restaurant industry, as well as the latest of the $25 billion grant program, we welcome New York City Hospitality Alliance Executive Director, Andrew Rigie. Hello, how are you?
Hello, great to see you.
I know, great to see you again, right? I would have hoped we were in a different position by this time. And I'm sure you would as well.
Indeed.
Yeah. However, I mean, we've got some good news this time around.
Yeah, well, listen, our restaurant industry has been absolutely decimated. So beginning to open at 25%, while it's not the 50% occupancy like restaurants throughout the rest of New York State have, it's a start. Hopefully we can get to 50% soon. And I love your red shirt and red glasses coming up on Valentine's Day. The good news was restaurants were originally supposed to open up indoors on Valentine's Day. And as we've been saying, many in the restaurant industry and people going out for Valentine's Day were heartbroken because it falls on a Sunday this year. So they're going to miss the Friday and Saturday business. So it got bumped up to Friday. Today, we're opened up and it's a good start, but we need to increase capacity soon. And we're also going to need a lot more support from the federal, state, and city government to give these small business owners and all these workers who are the backbone of our industry and our city a fighting chance.
Yeah, well, the restaurant business is the backbone of New York City. It is what people primarily indulge in New York City. And so, all right, so we're at 25%, hoping for 50 sooner than later. With regards to just where we are with the vaccine, the new strains, like how do you see this folding out?
Well, listen, it's an impossible situation. You know, we're nearly 1 year into this pandemic now, and we have to manage all of these risks, and there's no good solutions. I mean, the good news is that we have been advocating for restaurant workers to be eligible for the vaccine, which thankfully they now are. We know there is shortages in the vaccine. That's not unique just to the restaurant industry. That's for all the eligible populations, but hopefully we continue to increase capacity there. And we're gonna have to balance all of this. You know, restaurants have been open indoors at 50% occupancy throughout the rest of New York State since back in June. And for consecutive months, one after another, infection rates and hospitalization rates continue to go down until what they call the holiday surge, people getting together for the holidays. And we know from contact tracing data, you know, private social gatherings are where the biggest spread is occurring. And not really from highly regulated, reduced occupancy restaurants. So we need to be careful. We need to be vigilant. We need to make sure we're following all the safety protocols. And we need customers to respect all of them as well and engage in best practices, you know, wearing your mask when you're sitting down if you're not eating or if someone's coming over to your table to take an order. You know, and being patient and of course tipping well. So it's a tough situation. Over the past year, New York City restaurants and bars have lost more than 140,000 jobs. I mean, it's a dire situation. And these are people from all walks of life that are out of work. We've lost thousands of small businesses, and we really need to support them and get them going again in a safe way. We need to bring back New York City's restaurant industry if we want New York City to come back.
Yeah, and you know, as the executive director of the New York City Hospitality Alliance, how is it that you serve the Alliance? How is it that you are of service to anyone who may not even be familiar with the Alliance?
Sure. Well, we are a not-for-profit association that represents the city's restaurant and nightlife industry. So we have several thousand members in the 5 boroughs, ranging from, the small mom and pop cafes to the big 4-star restaurants to, neighborhood pubs to big nightclubs and kind of everything in between. So we have a whole advocacy team. We get in the halls of government these days, the virtual halls of government, and advocate for policies on behalf of the industry for support, financial support, reducing regulatory burdens, providing policies that help support the industry, like capping the outrageous third-party delivery fees from companies like Grubhub and Seamless, suspending enforcement of personal liability guarantees and license and leases that a lot of these restaurateurs sign, getting federal support like the PPP money, getting changes made to it, and now this new plan, the Restaurants Act, which will provide more grants to restaurants. We're really on the front line fighting and advocating for the industry. We do a lot of education and training seminars online these days, send out newsletters, keeping people on top of the changing rules and regulations, the different industry trends, and really being almost an extended member of their staff, fighting, supporting, educating, and informing them in any way we can to mitigate the loss and help save our industry.
And so this $25 billion grant program, how far along have you come in it? I mean, you're there in the forefront fighting for it. So what does that really look like? Is it really going to happen? What kind of micro grants are going to be offered in that process? Like, what is that whole movement in as far as, okay, there's your contribution in serving the restaurants, and then how do the restaurants gain access to the information and the knowledge and or qualify for it?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're getting very close. Last year, we had a bill called the Restaurants Act. It passed the House of Representatives. It had 53 sponsors in the U.S. Senate, so it was bipartisan. Ultimately, it didn't pass because of a whole bunch of crazy politics that are happening in DC. But essentially what it was a revitalization fund that would provide restaurants the difference between their 2019 and 2020 revenues. And they could use that money as a straight grant, not a convertible loan like the Paycheck Protection Program, to pay for the multiple months of missed rent, payroll, vendor expenses. Because let's remember, it's not just the restaurant owners and the restaurant workers, it's the upstate farmer we purchase our produce from, it's the sales rep we buy our beer from, the florist, and all these other people that rely on a vibrant restaurant industry for their livelihood. So it was really to help shore up from the bottom up the restaurant economy and restaurant ecosystem, so to speak. The Restaurants Act was just reintroduced this year with the Biden administration now, and with our own New York's U.S. Senator Chuck Schumer as majority leader, who's been fighting like crazy for us to pass this new bill, which will be part of the reconciliation process. It's a new $25 billion fund. The exact provisions are being worked out, but it will essentially provide grants to restaurants for loss of revenue to be spent on all of these expenses. So we're very hopeful. The House of Representatives seems to support it, as does the Biden administration. So we just need to get that structure out and the money flowing as soon as possible. So it's not 100% until it's 110%, but we are very, very close, and we keep fighting, and hopefully next time I'm on the show, sooner than later, we'll be talking about how people just got money in their bank accounts.
Sounds lovely. It sounds lovely. And this is all actually really pretty good news considering. And what a wonderful weekend to kick it off on, the weekend of love. So thank you for coming here and sharing it with our viewers, Andrew.
Thanks always for having me. So nice to see you. Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's to you too. All right, you guys, that was the Executive Director of the New York City Hospitality Alliance, Andrew Rigie. And for more resources and the latest on New York City restaurants, you can visit the New York City, it's the NYC Alliance.org. All right, we do have to take a quick break, but when we return, we'll learn about a couple's cocoon you and your significant other can enjoy for Valentine's Day. Don't go anywhere.